The bench under the maple tree. It was the first week of fall at Brookdale University, and the air carried that crisp scent of new beginnings. The campus was dressed in gold and amber leaves, the wind gently sweeping through the maple trees that lined the main courtyard. For Lily Carter, it was her first semester away from home. She'd grown up in a small town in Ohio, quiet and predictable, where everyone knew everyone. Brookdale felt like another universe, bigger, louder, filled with faces that passed by without a single glance. On her second morning, she sat alone on an old wooden bench under a giant maple tree near the literature building, waiting for her first English class. That's when she saw him. He was running late, rushing across the courtyard with a coffee cup in one hand and a worn-out guitar case in the other. His hoodie was half-zipped, his hair slightly messy, but his smile, briefly offered to the girl holding the door open, was enough to make time pause for a second. Lily didn't even realize she was staring until her pen dropped on the ground. He bent down to pick it up before she could move. "You dropped this," he said, his voice calm but friendly. "Thanks," she managed to say, feeling the warmth rise to her cheeks. He smiled again. "No problem. I'm Jake, by the way." That simple introduction was the beginning of something neither of them could have predicted. Over the next few weeks, Lily kept bumping into Jake at the cafe beside the library, at the campus park, and sometimes, by pure coincidence, at the same maple tree bench. They started talking between classes. Jake was a sophomore majoring in music. He played guitar at the local coffee house every Friday night. Lily, a freshman studying English literature, spent most of her free time reading novels and writing short stories she never showed anyone. He told her he wanted to write songs that could make people feel something real. She told him she wasn't sure she believed in real love anymore. "Then maybe I'll have to prove it to you," he'd said with that teasing grin she was starting to like too much. As the semester went on, their friendship deepened. Lily began attending Jake's performances at the coffee house. The place was small and cozy, strings of fairy lights hanging from the ceiling, the smell of espresso floating in the air. Jake's voice had this raw, honest tone that made even the loudest room fall silent. He often caught her gaze while singing, and every time he did, something inside her stirred, a warmth she hadn't felt before. One night, after his set, they walked together under the cool autumn sky. The campus was quiet, the moonlight glimmering on the lake nearby. "You know," Jake said softly, "I wrote that last song for someone who doesn't believe in love." She looked up at him, her heart thudding. "And did she like it?" He smiled. "She's still deciding." They laughed, but neither of them could hide the growing connection between them. Over time, Jake became her favorite part of every day. They studied together, shared late-night coffee, talked about dreams and fears, and even watched the sunrise after pulling all-nighters before exams. But as winter break approached, Lily began to sense something was off. Jake had been quieter lately, distracted. When she asked, he said he was fine, but his smile didn't quite reach his eyes anymore. Then one evening, just before Christmas, he showed up at the bench under the maple tree, snowflakes dusting his hair. "I need to tell you something," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "My dad's business went under. I have to take a break from school, maybe for a year. I can't afford tuition anymore." Lily felt her chest tighten. She didn't know what to say. "But you'll come back, right?" Jake nodded slowly. "I will. I promise." They sat there for a long time, watching their breaths fade into the cold air. When he finally stood up, he took her hand. "You made this place feel like home, Lily. I'll never forget that." He kissed her forehead gently, and before she could speak, he walked away into the snowy night. The months that followed were quiet. Jake kept in touch at first. Texts, calls, late-night voice messages, but slowly, those messages came less often. Lily threw herself into her studies, telling herself that maybe love wasn't meant to last forever. Still, every morning she'd pass that maple tree, and every time she'd look at the bench, half expecting to see him there again. She missed the way he made her laugh, the way he believed in dreams even when things were hard. A year passed. The maple tree turned green again, then red, then gold. Life moved on. Lily had become more confident, more focused. She'd started writing again, stories about love, loss, and the courage to begin again. One afternoon, as she was reading her work aloud at a small student event, she heard a familiar voice from the back of the room. "You always were a great storyteller." She froze. It couldn't be. She turned, and there he was, Jake. A little older, a little taller, hair slightly longer, but that same familiar warmth in his eyes. After the event, they went for coffee, just like old times. He told her he'd been working 2 jobs to save money and had finally re-enrolled at Brookdale. "I promised I'd come back," he said. She smiled, though her heart still trembled. "You kept your word." He shrugged playfully. "I'm stubborn like that." There was a pause, a silence filled with everything they hadn't said in a year. "You know," Jake said softly, "I kept writing songs while I was gone. There's one I never played for anyone." He pulled out his guitar from the case he'd brought. It's called The Maple Tree. He started to play, and his voice carried through the quiet cafe. The lyrics told the story of 2 souls meeting by chance, finding hope, losing it, and finding it again. Of a girl who didn't believe in love, and a boy who believed enough for both of them. When the song ended, Lily had tears in her eyes. Jake looked at her, unsure, waiting. She didn't say a word. Instead, she reached across the table and took his hand. "You were right," she whispered. "Maybe love is real after all." From that day on, the bench under the maple tree became their place again. They would sit there between classes, sharing coffee, laughter, and quiet moments that didn't need words. Seasons changed, years passed, but that bench, where it had all begun, remained their secret corner of the world. On graduation day, as the campus buzzed with celebration, Jake handed Lily a small envelope. Inside was a simple card with 5 words written in his messy handwriting. "Meet me under the maple tree." When she arrived, he was waiting with his guitar and a nervous smile. "I have one more song," he said, "but this one's different." He took a deep breath, then got down on one knee. "Lily Carter, will you keep sitting with me under this tree for the rest of our lives?" Her eyes filled with tears as she laughed and nodded. "Yes, Jake, always." The crowd of friends watching from a distance cheered, and the maple tree swayed gently above them, its leaves whispering in the wind as if the world itself was blessing their love. Years later, whenever they came back to visit Brookdale, they would still stop by that bench. Sometimes they'd bring coffee, sometimes flowers, sometimes just silence. Because some stories don't need to be rewritten. They just keep growing, like the roots of an old tree that once sheltered 2 hearts who found each other when they least expected it.